Hey guys, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Whether you're watching this in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening, I am glad you're here. If you're so inclined and you get the second, please hit that subscribe button down below and the bell notification icon right next to it. It'll let YouTube know that you're a human interested in EDC content, not a bot, and it'll help my videos get seen by other people. I really appreciate it. It'll also notify you when I release new videos. But today I wanted to talk about another, what I consider to be a banging budget knife. And banging in this case is a euphemism. This is the Miguron Pagos, or Pagos, and it's the budget version. The Pagos was a knife that has been around in a more premium version, around $190 in titanium and M390. This knife is $54. It's the same basic design, shape, kind of with that nice, what I call mini machete drop point blade. Really nice G10 handle. Very similar in handle to what I showed you guys on the Miguron, which I think or thought was it's still a runner for knife of the year. The Pagos here is also a 14C 28N blade, G10 handle, and it's got very well done G10, very grippy but not too aggressive. It's got this blue titanium ring around the pivot and a blue titanium pocket clip. It is a little bit thicker. We'll get some dimensions on that in a little bit. But drop shutty, thumb stud, actuated, and a front flipper. You guys know how I feel about front flippers. If you don't, it's my least favorite way to deploy a knife. However, this front flipper is, I don't enjoy it anymore because I still hate deploying knives by a front flipper, but this is jimped all the way up the front and over the front corner here. So what it does is it gives you a really good purchase for that front flip. I knew I'd fail that. But if I just regular front flip this, I can get it 10 out of 10 times. It doesn't put fatigue on my thumb. It doesn't feel like I'm going to bump the blade into my hand. It's just set up really well, but I prefer to thumb flick it. It's got the studs on both sides, and for some people they don't have any trouble with this, but for me, I don't feel like I'm getting as much of a reverse flick on it because I have to put my finger between that thumb stud and that little edge, where on the thumb side it's much more intuitive because I just follow that contour with my thumb into the stud and it just opens fantastically well, and it's 100% drop shut. So I'm horizontal, but if I tilt this just a hair, it'll drop to my thumb and it'll drop down just like the Miguron. One other thing I'll point out on this 20 or 14C 28N blade, the sharpening choil is kind of thick behind the edge here, even though this this plunge grind comes down and it looks like you've got a lot of sharpening area. You do have a good bit, but you don't have as much as it shows there because it does get thick about right there. Again, this knife came very sharp. Let me see if I've got some paper. I do. I have some Smoky Mountain Knife Works return label. And this is out of the box from Miguron on the Pagos. And that's cutter air. Cutter air. Very slicey knife, guys. I could run it over the strop and probably make it more slicey, but no need to sharpen it. It's got that fuller that runs the length of the blade here. Got some cat hair on it. But I've had no luck getting my finger into that fuller to flick it, but I can get my finger behind that stud to flick it. It's just not as comfortable as the thumb flick. So you can definitely reverse flick this knife but I prefer to do it that way with the thumb flick. So let's get a couple of size comparisons on the Miguron Plethoros, and then we will get some measurements and we will be done. Let's look at it next to the Cold Steel 4MAX. Much smaller than the 4MAX. And let's look at it next to our Civivi Baby Banter. It's going to come in a good bit larger than the Civivi Baby Banter. I'd say it is going to be, in my hand, a medium-sized knife. I can get all 4 fingers into that grip, and I can also choke up on this knife if I want to. I don't have a defined choil, but I do have that flat plate there. But if I want to stay back in the handle for bigger cuts, I've got a full 4 on the handle. But let's look at it next to the Benchmade Bug Out. Just about the size of the Benchmade Bug Out, guys. And that's what I was kind of guessing, that it was going to be about Bug Out size, which puts it a good bit smaller than the Para 2. But then again, it's going to be a lot thicker because it's got the G10 sitting proud on those steel liners. I like the steel liners because it makes the knife feel solid to me. I don't know, maybe in titanium, but then you're back up at $173. One other knife I wanted to compare the size to was our Miguron Miguron, because I think they're right around the same length. All right, the Miguron Miguron is just a little bit longer than this Miguron here. But there are a couple of other Migurons I've noticed on White Mountain Knives site. One of them has what looks like a Scandi grind, and then one of them has a really neat flat grind and thumb studs. And I'm thinking about giving it a whirl because I've been so impressed with this knife and with the Miguron. This is just a really well done value knife at $45, and that, guys, is before you put anybody's discount code in there. I typically use Lefty 10 just because it's in my head, but you can use Tri-State 10, you can use, I think, G-Balls 10. There's just a lot of different sites that have codes that you can use to save 10% off of this $45 price. But this is the Miguron, what did I say, the Pagos or Pythos, something like that. I'll have it in the description. I think it's a great little knife if you're looking for a budget knife. Will it unseat the Miguron? I'm not sure yet because I hadn't really spent that much time with it. I have a feeling the Miguron is going to hold its place just because it has a taller flat blade. But the next Miguron that I'm bringing in has a blade that's very similar to this, but it has thumb studs. And again, I'm just very impressed with what Miguron's been delivering to the market. I think they're hopefully other budget brands are taking note. I think one of the things I showed you on the Miguron is they're using T8 hardware on the body screws, on the clip screws, on every piece of hardware. You've got a reversible clip. Just not much that I can find wrong with this knife, guys. It is a budget knife. It is a front flipper. If I had my druthers, it would be a traditional flipper just because I hate front flippers. But again, the way I will open this knife is with the thumb studs. Guys, I appreciate you stopping by and watching the video on this particular Miguron. If you get the chance and you haven't yet and you're still here, please subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost you a thing, and it does mean a lot to me. Most importantly, look out for the guy or gal to your left. Please look out for the guy or gal to your right. Please look out for each other. Go forward with love in your heart and choose debate instead of hate. I love you all. Peace.